Okay, so by definition, a repo is an agreement, okay, whereby a bank sells its valued money market papers to an investor with an understanding to repurchase them at an agreed price on specified future date. So as I said, repo is actually method or agreement, okay, to sell and buy the money market instruments with an understanding that the original owner or seller of the money market instruments will repurchase back the same instrument from the investor. Okay, let's say, okay, we have investor A. Okay, we have investor A. Ataupun kita, no, we give an example bank mas senang. Okay, let's say we have bank. And then we have investor A. Investor A. Okay, so the bank, okay, they have, let's say, banker acceptance. They own banker acceptance. Okay, so banker acceptance, the banks suddenly they need cash or they need money. So what they can do, okay, is by selling the banker acceptance, let's say they sell banker acceptance to investor A in the money market with an intention to buy back in the future. Dia jual, okay, dengan niat dia akan beli balik instrumen tu, okay, with the intention to buy back the same banker acceptance. Okay, so the investor will pay. So when the bank sell, the investor will pay. Will pay, okay, will pay. Will pay to the bank. So the bank, they can use the money in order to run their business. Okay, let's say certain period, let's say after 3 months. After 3 months, the bank, okay, buy back the banker acceptance from the investor A, and they need to, of course, they need to pay back to the investor. Pay the value of banker acceptance plus the interest. Okay, plus the interest. So in the banking institutions, okay, for the bank, since they invest in money market instruments, they can either sell the money market instruments to the investor with intention not to buy back, or they can enter into repo, okay, by selling the money market instrument with an intention to buy back in future date. So the instrument, what is actually the instruments that they can enter into the repo? We have banker acceptance, we have negotiable instruments of deposit, we have Malaysian government securities, or also Malaysian treasury bills. So if the bank, they have banker acceptance or NID or MGS or MTB, they can use repo in order to trade this instrument. Okay, sebelum ni kita belajar dia jual terus, okay, dan tak beli balik. But repo, they will sell and buy back in the future. Okay, so we have repo. And the other one, we have reverse repo. Okay, reverse repo is actually, okay, back to our example, we have bank. Okay, and then we have investor A. First, bank sell the banker acceptance to the investor A with an intention to buy back in, let's say, in 3-month period. Okay, so the investor A, okay, if he need money, he can sell to another investor. Let's say investor B, also using repo agreement with an intention to buy back in the future. Kenapa dia kena guna reverse repo? Sebab they have to sell back the banker acceptance to the bank, to the original owner, which is bank. So investor A, they can sell to the investor B. Okay, after 2 months, for example, okay, the investor B, they have to sell back to the investor A, and investor A will sell back to the original owner, which is a bank. That is what we call it as a reverse repo, because they enter into two separate contracts. Okay, this is first repo and this is the second repo. But the period for the second repo must be shorter than the period of the first agreement in order to make sure that the investor A, they can sell back to the bank at certain period. If within 3 months, so they have to make sure that they buy back from the banker, from the investor B before they can sell back to the bank. Any question? Clear ke?
Okay tak?
Alright.
Tak.
That is repo and reverse repo. Sell and buy back the same same money market instruments, either bank acceptance or negotiable instruments of deposit or Malaysian government securities or MTBs, right? So how does a repo work? Okay, for example, okay, we have bank. We have bank on the first day, okay, and then we have an investor. So the bank pledge, okay, or sell the money market papers to tenure of the placement. Okay, and then investor with surplus money, they will place or they will pay to the bank by buying the money market paper temporarily. Okay, that is on the first day. On the maturity date, okay, the bank, who is the original owner of the money market instrument, will return the principal, okay, plus interest to the investor by holding the money market instruments, while the investor will return the right of claim to the money market right of claim of money market papers to the bank. So the bank, they're still entitled to have right to claim on the money market papers on the maturity date, because bank is actually the original owner of the money market instruments. Okay, kalau dia jual terus kepada investor, so investor lah yang akan claim ataupun akan redeem money market instrument tu. Tapi when they enter into repo, the original owner will have a right to claim on the money market papers. Alright? So who can do repo? Okay, who can do repo? We have private or public companies with surplus fund, or government agencies with surplus fund, or also cash-rich individuals. So anybody can enter into repo or by selling and buying the money market instruments, any money market instruments that's suitable to enter into repo. Okay, so means that repo is actually agreement, okay, to sell and to buy back in the future. So what is actually advantage of repo to the investor? First, it's able to maximize return on short-term surplus fund rather than leaving the fund idle in current account which yield no return. So for the investor, they can generate more return. Okay, if they have extra money, so they can invest into repo. So they can generate more return compared to if they save in the current account which yield no return. Okay, and can manage and plan cash flow more efficiently as the tenure repo is very flexible. So for the repo, it depends on the original owner. Let's say they allocate for 3 months. So within 3 months, the investor, they can plan. Okay, so I will invest now. Again, after 3 months, I will get some principal and also profit by holding the money market papers, which is the period of the repo is more flexible. So it is easy for the investor to plan their cash inflow and cash outflow. So in emergency case, fund can be withdrawn before maturity date of repo with interest paid for the number of days the funds were held by the bank. So in case, okay, in case the investor, they need cash, so they can simply withdraw from the repo, and the interest rate, the interest is actually paid based on the number of days that they hold the money market instruments. Even though the period is 3 months, they can simply withdraw even after 1 month of the repo. So dia punya interest dia akan recalculate, okay, based on the number of days that the investor hold the money market instruments. If you have a question, just interrupt me, should be no problem. All right. So formula for computation of interest payable on repo. How we calculate the interest payable for the repo? Okay, the calculation of interest payable on repo transaction is based on simple interest formula. Okay, so here, not 10365, sorry. 365 days in a year. Okay, so please correct the formula. Okay, this one 365, not 100, eh? So I or interest equal to P, which is principal sum placed under repo, okay, amount of the principal, time rate of interest for the placement, okay, rate, and tenure of the repo. So tenure and also rate is actually rate and tenure for that particular agreement, not the rate or period of the money market instruments. Let's say we enter into the repo by selling the banker acceptance. So the interest rate and also the tenure is not the interest for that particular banker acceptance, but it is tenure and also rate for the repo agreement. Okay, for the repo, not that particular papers. Okay, so interest is interest for the repo. Okay, so for example, a repo placement by an investor, okay, 1 million for 7 days at 6.5%. Okay, 6.5% is rate for the repo. Okay, not for the papers. Okay, so 1 million times 0.065 times 7 days divided by 365 days in a year. Because 6.5% is actually per annum. That's why they have to divide it with 365 days in a year. So if you are using 6.5%, so it means that you have to convert 36500. Okay, so we got 1,246 ringgit and 58 cents. So it means that this is basically the interest that the investor will receive by holding 1 million face value of the repo for 7 days with a rate of 6.5%. Okay, about 1,000 plus. Okay, only for 7 days. All right, that is for the repo. Any question on the repo?